All right, so good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Instructor's Workflow Training for Turnitin Feedback Studio. My name is Nina Victoria Buenabajo. I am from the Professional and Education Services team from Turnitin Philippines. Okay, so basically, I'll be your trainer for today's session. So again, good afternoon, Ateneo de Manila University faculty members or even non-faculty members who may also be using Feedback Studio in their instructor's workflow. Okay. So please note that all audience members are muted by default for the main presentation. And if in case you have any questions or clarifications about the features of this specific product, please note that you can key in or type your questions in our Q&A panel. You can find that below the Zoom interface. Okay, you may be using a mobile or a laptop or a desktop. Surely you can find that specific panel, okay, below the Zoom interface. Okay. Now, okay, for today's agenda, we will be talking about what Feedback Studio is. I'm pretty sure that a lot of you are familiar with what Feedback Studio is, but I think it's about time for us to unlearn and relearn some things about this too. So we will also be discussing the user roles in Feedback Studio, and I will also be talking about why do we use Feedback Studio. I will be showing how the Similarity Report works and the file requirements for you to generate a Similarity Report. And then, okay, you will notice that I do have this agenda in creating an assignments. Okay, for today, I was asked to discuss two kinds of access or workflow. I will be talking about the direct website access. Okay, maybe some of you are familiar with the www.Turnitincom. And some of you are using Feedback Studio in Canvas access. You don't have to worry about that because those two access will be discussed as we go along. So this can be very meaty discussion. Okay, so you may again ask your questions in our Q&A panel as we go along the session. Okay, and also we will be covering the assignment setting. Okay, like what are the features that I have to enable? What are the things or the best settings for me as I create the assignment? So I will be discussing all of those things as well. And of course, a lot of us are very much excited on how will we interpret the Similarity Report that we will be generating. So that will be the coverage when I discuss on how to navigate the Feedback Studio document viewer. We will be discussing how to work on with the Similarity Reports, how to do the exclusion, how to make use of the grade mark, as well as the ETS Eraser, which is the automatic spelling and grammar checker. And to wrap everything up, we will have the Getting Help guides. Okay, so with all of these agenda, I think we can start. Okay, so let's talk about what Feedback Studio is. So Feedback Studio is the product or the tool that is being used by Ateneo de Manila University, and it is actually an originality checking and plagiarism prevention tool. Feedback Studio checks students' writing for citation mistakes as well as inappropriate copying. So what happens, okay, when you are submitting your paper or your student's paper? We are checking those works text in Turnitin's massive content databases of students' work, website, books, and web articles. So what are those content databases? I will be discussing this one as we go along, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, now Feedback Studio does have three main components. Okay, we have the Similarity Report. This is the report generated when you are submitting your students' papers. And this one indicates those similarities and matches that we found in your students' work, as well as what we have found in our content database. Okay, I'm pretty sure that you will be understanding it more as I talk about the document viewer shortly. And also, Feedback Studio does have the grade mark, which is the grading and feedback tools for instructors. And then the ETS Eraser, the automatic spelling and grammar check. Okay, so Feedback Studio does have three main user roles. First one is the admin, okay, the administrator, and it's the main, or he or she is the main point of contact with Turnitin support team. So if in case you have any concerns about your account, you can just reach out to your campus Turnitin administrator. Okay, and for sure, okay, you're familiar with them, okay, or they might be chatting or introducing themselves, okay, in the chat as well. Okay, if somebody is trying to know who their Turnitin administrator is. Okay, and also the administrator will be the one to set up the LMS integration and then to access the usage statistics. As for the majority of the instructors for today's session, okay, as mentioned earlier, we will be talking about two kinds of workflows for you. For those who are accessing Canvas, okay, all you have to do is to create an assignment and enable Turnitin. That's how easy it is. And I'll be showing that to you shortly. Now, as for the instructors accessing Turnitin Feedback Studio in their rec website access, that is www.turnitin.com, you have to do three things. First is to create a class, then create an assignment, and as well as enroll your students, and for you to be able to generate the similarity report. And as for our students, all they have to do, it's very easy for our students, so you really don't have to worry at all about them. Once you have created the assignment, all they have to do is to submit papers to the assignments that you have created. That's it. Okay, now what I'm actually showing is the Turnitin standard content databases. So you may be hearing me saying about repository option, content databases, or the databases in Turnitin. So I'm talking about these three standard databases. The first one is student paper database. Okay, so maybe some of you are familiar with student paper databases. Okay, so what happens is when you are submitting your students' work or you are submitting your own work, we compare, okay, or we check that work against these three standard databases. The first one is, as mentioned, student paper repository. This allows you to match against previous submissions made in Turnitin. So we are comparing against this database just to make sure that our students within the same class or students who might be doing the same class at different times are not copying from each other. So here we have currently 1.4 billion student papers, and it's still growing, it's increasing. Okay, because for sure, as of this moment, there are still a lot of students submitting to the repository. And with that, there's a high chance that our system will detect if your students' paper are colluding with each other. So definitely, if we have students who are copying or recycling their own work, we will definitely be able to find out. For as long as those paper is in our databases, okay, are in our database, I mean. Okay, next is the Internet Archive Repository. Okay, so this repository helps you to make sure that students are not just copying and pasting from one website to another without proper citation to the author or the sources. And for sure, we will be able to find out, okay, once you run the paper, if the student's work is matching back to another website's content. Currently, we have more than 91 billion current and archived web pages. So note that this is current and archived, meaning to say that even if the content is not existing as of now, okay, we will still be able to find the match because it's already been crawled and stored in our Internet Archive database. Okay. The third content database that we have is the scholarly publication. Okay, so primarily here, okay, this portion in here, okay, so this is where like it is all about avoiding academic and research misconduct. Okay, for this repository, this will make sure that students are not just taking work, okay, from the journals or scholarly articles claiming that it is their own work. Okay, and here we have more than 170 million journals and publications in this database. Okay, so again, those are the content database that we have. So if you are like maybe some of you are asking, okay, what if I selected standard paper repository option? Definitely the paper that is submitted will be stored in our student paper database. Okay, now for you to be able to generate a similarity report, that file must be in a supported file type or must follow the supported file types that we have. So we are supporting Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, Adobe PDF, Adobe PostScript, OpenOffice Text, Corel WordPerfect, Google Docs, slides, and sheets. We also support HTML file, plain text format, rich text format, and even in Hangul. If in case your students are using Apple Pages, all they have to do is to submit, okay, or export that to PDF, and surely Similarity Report will be generated right after. Okay. Now, the file uploaded must have password protection turned off. It should contain more than 20 words, the less than 800 pages in length, and the less than 100 megabytes in size. Okay, your students can surely submit video and audio files. Maybe some of you are still asking about that. So yes, they can, depending on the assignment setting that you have set. However, okay, we won't be able to generate any similarity report on those file types. Okay, so might as well that you will only encourage your students to submit in a certain file format so that you can generate similarity report. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is go straight to www.turnitin.com. So well, this is not our primary access for today because our focus would be on Canvas, but I will just quickly show you the workflow of an instructor within the Turnitin direct website. Okay, so there you go. Log in to your Turnitin account. And okay, all right. So this is the www.turnitin.com. Again, maybe some of you are accessing this one. Okay, depending on the Turnitin usage guidelines that you may have within your campuses. Okay, just let us, or if in case that you have any issues or concerns about your login details, please reach out to your Turnitin administrator. Okay, so I think, okay, it would be best for you to chat, okay, to everyone. So maybe your administrator is among the attendees as well, and surely they can provide you the access or the information that you're looking for. So I'll be logging into this specific account. Okay. So provide the login details, and well, I will just go directly to my instructor account, and there you go. So what I'm gonna do is, again, to show you the workflow of an instructor within the direct website access. Okay, I was told that Ateneo de Manila University is using both, okay, both access. So maybe some, again, is using the direct website and the rest is using Canvas. So for those accessing direct website access, so I will be using the Turnitin Academy of the Philippines. And then I will click on Add Class. Okay, once you log into your account, click on Add Class. And there you go. So you have to provide these necessary information for you to be able to generate your first class in Feedback Studio. You have two options in class type. We have the standard. Okay, the standard is actually a standalone class, meaning to say that it's one teacher with students in it. So it is usually the standard class that we have in the Philippines. So normally, right? Okay, we have one instructor and then students. Okay, we do have a master class as well. Okay, this one is a type of class with a master teacher with section classes being handled by teaching assistant. I believe that for majority of the attendees or the faculty members in today's session, okay, we will be using standard class. So this will be our focus for today. Now, once you have selected the standard, you have to provide your class name. So the naming convention of the class name is depending on your preference. So you don't have to worry about this one at all, but I am recommending for all instructors to provide enough information in here so that it will be easy for you to identify your class. So for me, for example, I will be using TII. That's Turnitin code actually, 4-1, okay? I will also put my subject, okay? And then semester if you want to, as well as the year. Okay, like what I mentioned, the more information that you will put in your class name, the better, so you can easily identify your class. The next to that is the enrollment key. This is serving as a passcode in your class, and it can be minimum of 4 alphanumeric characters. So I am choosing ABC 1, 2, 3, 4, but the enrollment key is really up to you. Whichever you want to put in here, that's totally fine. You can use this enrollment key for every single subject or every single class if you like. That's also okay. All right, so somebody is actually chatting, like they don't have their login details yet. Okay, I believe that you can reach out to your Turnitin administrator for that, and they will be the one to provide you your account. Okay, for sure. Okay. Next to that is we have to provide the subject area. So you may just click on this drop-down arrow and select the subject that you are working on, of course. But if in case your subject isn't here, click on other instead. Student level, I'll be choosing graduate for now. Okay, so well, subject areas and student level do not affect how your class works. So you don't have to worry about it at all. It's just a required field, so you really have to put something in it. But again, your students won't be able to see any of it, and it's not really, it won't affect any of your classes. The start date is automatically generated. Okay, so next is the class end date. As for the class end date, this is the date that your student will like make sure that the student that you are enrolling in this specific class will end. Okay, so basically I'm creating a class and later I will be adding students in here. So it's like the students who will be adding in this specific class will end in this date. You may have a question like, what if I'm not sure as to what would be my class end date? That's okay. This can be changed anytime. So you don't have to worry about it as well. Now I will have to click on submit and there you go. Okay, so once you have a class, once you have created your class, you will definitely have this confirmation box with the class ID and then the enrollment key. Okay, these are the two information for your student to be able to join your class if this is allowed in your Turnitin usage guidelines. So let me click on continue and there you go. Okay, so don't mind all of the institutions that you are seeing here, but we will only be focusing on Turnitin Academy of the Philippines. And the class that I created is here, TII 4-1, English Semester 2, 2021. You can see the class ID, and then if in case that you would want to access the enrollment key or even change the end date of your class, just simply click on this cog icon. Okay, there you go. And there you go. You will have an access to the enrollment key as well as the change your class end date. So for this, I would want to change it, like shorten my class. I want it to be on December 2021 instead. Okay, December 29, 2021. And then click on submit. Then we're all good. Okay, so there you go. I have my class and I changed the end date already. Next thing is click on that class for you to do the next workflow, which is to create an assignment or enroll your students. Okay, this is not recommended if you are using Canvas Access. Okay, make sure that you are only using one access, okay, when you're using your account. So if you're using direct website access, stick to the direct website. Or if you're using Canvas, stick to the Canvas access. Okay, so again, this is only for direct website access instructors. Okay, we'll have the Canvas shortly. Next thing to do is to add students in your class. What can I do is click on the tab. Okay, student tab. There you go. And there are two ways to add students. So adding student, okay, tab or add student. This tab is like adding students one by one. So it's like manually adding your student. Well, if you are only adding 1 to 2 students, this is very good. However, if you're adding more than that, okay, simply click on upload a student list. There you go. So this is what I'm doing right now. Okay, and you have to provide a properly formatted list. So click on more info and you'll get this information. So you can surely upload a plain text file or an Excel file with only these information. That is the first name of your student, last name of your student, and email address. Once you have that list, click on choose file, and then let me just quickly use my list. Okay, hold on for a second. Okay. Okay. I'm uploading my dummy student list. There you go. And then upload the list. Okay. So I will have this confirmation that these 4 students are those students I want to enroll in my class. Click on yes, submit. And for sure, they will automatically be enrolled in my class and will receive a welcome email from Turnitin. If they are not yet enrolled in any class or if they don't have Turnitin account yet. Okay, now I click on return to students. There you go. If you will notice that in my list, you can see the enroll dates of the student, student name, user ID of your students, and email addresses, and then the drop icon. If your student do not have, or your students do not have Turnitin account yet, you will see the highlights or this pink highlights. Again, this will only show if they don't have a Turnitin account yet. So well, if they do have a Turnitin account already, you won't see any pink highlights anymore. The pink highlights will definitely, it's more of like a warning or a heads up to you that you can advise your student to check the email from Turnitin so that they can set up their account right away. If your student hasn't received any welcome email or by some reason lost the email from Turnitin, you can resend it by clicking on this enrolled or this pink highlight. It's actually a hyperlink. When you click on that, you can fix on the email. Maybe there's something wrong with the information. So once you fix that one and it's properly done, click on submit and you're all good. So that way we are resending the welcome email so your student can set up their account and start submitting papers. Okay, now we have a student and we have a class and we have a student. So let me just access the class once again. So that's TII 4-1. So I'm clicking this link just below those tabs. And the next is to click on add assignment for you to add an assignment. There is no way for us to submit any papers without creating a class and creating an assignment. It's really an important part of a workflow when you are accessing the direct website access. Okay. Okay, I just got an information from Miss Jonavi Arevalo, okay, that you can, if you have concerns about your Turnitin account, you may just contact the library. So definitely they can provide you information about it. Okay, I hope that would be beneficial for everybody. Okay, now for you to create an assignment, you have to provide your assignment title. Naming convention can be really up to the instructor. So I can just put here final submission. Okay, or let's see, there we go. Next is point value. If you are using our grading and feedback tools, definitely you can provide a maximum score in here. Okay, and the next thing is, okay, let me just put 100 for this time. Next is allow only file types that Turnitin can check for similarity. Make sure you are checking this because if you check the other one, which is allowing any file types, this means that your students or you are allowing your student to submit video and audio files. And for that, we cannot generate any similarity report for those types. So again, make sure that you're clicking on the first one. Okay, so that we can generate similarity reports once they have submitted. Okay, next is the start date. This is the date that students can view and submit their assignments. The due date, the last date that they can submit. Post date, if you are using grading and feedback tools, this is the date that your student can access all of those information. Okay, and then next is optional setting. You can provide your special instruction, of course, if like you have your own requirements or instruction about that specific assignment, it's possible for you to put in here. And then Allow submissions after the due date. Yes, if you want your student to submit even after the due date has passed. No, if you don't want to submit or definitely they won't be able to submit once the due date has ended. You can also check the question mark icon in every feature. There you go. It will provide you information when you are setting up your student assignment. So it would definitely be very helpful if you would like to be reminded about which option is best for that specific assignment you are setting up. Next is generate similarity report for submission. Make sure you are clicking on yes, so that, of course, okay, it's one of the reasons why we have the service. And then next one is actually the generation speed, this portion. You have three options in here. First, let me talk about the last one actually, on the due date. Okay. If you're choosing on the due date in here, this means that the report or the similarity report of everyone submitting will be generated at the same time. That will be on the due date. And another one is, okay, if you don't like that to happen, you can then choose the one in the middle, immediately can overwrite reports until the due date. By choosing this one means that you are allowing resubmissions. You're allowing your student to submit their assignments many times. Okay, and their similarity report will be generated immediately. There you go. This is actually a good setting if you want your student to check the similarities for themselves. Okay, like they will submit their paper and then they will see the similarity score. And then they will just go back to writing and fix up something. Like maybe they forgot to paraphrase correctly, or they forgot to put a lot of information in it, or fix the quotes if they forgot to properly cite, those kind of things, and then submit it again. Okay. However, okay, please note that after the third resubmission of your student, so that would be the fourth, of course, then the similarity report of the fourth submission will be generated not immediately anymore, but after 24 hours. The reason for that is that we don't want students to take advantage of the system. Okay. Some students are actually doing that just to target a specific similarity score, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so that's why after the third resubmission, the similarity report will not be generated immediately, but after 24 hours. Okay, so there you go. Now, if you don't like, or if you don't want to allow resubmissions to your student, you can select the first one, which is immediately. First report is final. This means that your student won't be able to submit or to do resubmission because their first submission is first, and I mean it's final, and similarity report will be generated immediately. The next thing, okay, is the exclusion. Okay, let me just, actually, I'm recommending to choose immediately, can overwrite reports for this if you are for formative learning. So again, it's really depend on the preference of the instructors when they are setting up their assignment settings. Next is exclusion of bibliographic materials, quoted materials, and small sources. You can do the overall exclusion, or you can do the exclusion in this overall assignment setting, but we are not recommending this for the reason that we want you to be able to check, okay, those content in the similarity report before you do any exclusion. This will ensure that your students are doing their contents correctly. Like you can surely check first if they are doing the bibliographic material correctly. And if they've done that well, you can do the exclusion in the similarity report right after checking. So again, I'm recommending to click no for this or for these settings. And the next one is allow students to see similarity report. Yes, if you want to use the tool in a formative manner. No, if you perhaps want to keep the report secret for the time being up until the final submission. So it's really up to you. Okay, the next one is the repository option. So for the repository option, you were given the chance by your administrator to choose only two things. First, standard paper repository means to say that all papers are stored in the database, and that is good because you can have matches against that paper or the work in the future. You will then be able to know if your students are copying from each other, or they are just recycling their paper, or they are providing their work to another person. However, we know that there are some assignments or there are some papers that are not meant to be stored in the database. So you can then choose no repository option. By this, okay, the papers will not be stored, but we will process it to perform the similarity check. However, the downside of choosing this one is that if the student will provide their paper to another student, to their siblings, perhaps, maybe the sibling is attending to the same class in a different year, or they are somehow recycling their own work, we won't be able to find if there are some collusion in that because it's not in our database. Okay, so again, it's really your call if you want to use standard paper repository or no repository. Then we have the search option. So make sure that all of these are selected depending on the license that you have purchased in your institution. So we have the student paper repository, current and archive internet, and periodicals, journals, and publications. So this is the scholarly database. So when you are checking everything, okay, definitely it's good and it's highly recommended so you can have a better similarity matching. So don't forget to hover on top of those question marks so that you will get more information about what that feature is all about. Okay, so if in case that you would want to review the settings of these assignments. Next is the grading. Okay, online grading. So you can surely attach your rubrics or the rubrics that we have, or make your own rubric, or even create upload your own rubric that you think is best fit for your assignment by clicking on Launch Rubric or Form Manager. I will be sending you helpful guides about this one in my follow-up email together with the recording, so you don't have to worry about that. Next is the ETS Eraser. So make sure that you're clicking on yes so that you can check your students' paper for grammar and spelling errors, and then it comes along with a handbook. You can select the level of your handbook in here, but I normally advise to use advanced instead. And then you can select the English dictionary that you are allowing your students to use. It's US, UK, or both. And the categories that you want ETS Eraser to check, it could be the spelling, grammar, usage, mechanics, and style. But if you think that there are some categories that are not, that won't work, okay, in the specific assignment, you can uncheck that one and you're all good. So next is, would you like to save these option as your default for future assignment? Once you're all good about this one, click on submit. Okay, so there you go. Now we have a class. We have students, okay, enrolled in the class, and you can see it in here. So 0/4, meaning nobody has submitted yet, but you have 4 enrolled students. And then we have an assignment. Okay, as you can see here, that's the final submission. To view an assignment, click on view, and surely you can access the submission of your student. Now, what am I gonna do this time is to show you how do we go about with the workflow in Canvas. Okay, let me check. Okay, question that has got to do with Canvas access. So I found a question coming from Miss Maricar Bautista. Is create an assignment on www.Turnitin the same one on Canvas? If I do the details on Canvas, do I need to do the same in Turnitin site? I believe that if you're accessing Canvas, you only have to do it in Canvas. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that at all. You don't have to access your Feedback Studio in this direct website access. All you have to do is to use or to access Feedback Studio in your Canvas. So again, we are done. I'm done showing you how to, the instructor's workflow in direct website access. Now I work it out in your Canvas environment. Okay, so This is what I'm gonna do for Canvas user. So I will access the Canvas access that that was given to me by your Turnitin administrator. There you go. Okay, and I hope that I'm answering your question, Ms. Maricar. Okay, I do have other questions in the Q&A. I will answer that one once I discuss the document viewer. So at least it's like we're really making sense of those questions. I mean, and you can really apply it in the document viewer itself. Okay, so don't worry about that one. I will answer all of these questions. Okay, now I'm in Canvas. There you go. Let me just click on what you can do in Canvas is just log into Canvas as an instructor, access the course, okay, that you're enrolled in. So I will be using Turnitin test course this time. And the next thing is create an assignment. So what can I do is click on this assignment tab in the left-hand side. Okay. The next thing that you can do is click on this blue tab plus assignment tab. Okay, there you go. And provide your assignment name. So let me just make use of Turnitin code once again. So final assignment. Okay, so at least it's somehow the same as in the feedback studio earlier. Provide your, okay, well, please note that I will only be focusing on the Turnitin assignment setting and not in the Canvas setting. Okay, I'm pretty sure that your Canvas admin is more familiar with or more familiar when it comes to Canvas. So again, I will be focusing on Canvas, Turnitin only. Next is, okay, we have here the points, okay? The assignment group, definitely if you do have it under assignment group, you can select that one. Again, this is Canvas setting actually. And then display grades as points, whichever you prefer, that's totally fine. What is important is for you to work on the submission type. In your account, okay, I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with your Ateneo Canvas account. So make sure that you are selecting external tool. Well, I think it's default already, so you don't have to worry about that one. The next thing that you can do is click on find, okay, in this URL. So enter or find an external tool URL, click on find, and look for Turnitin. Okay. So I hope that I can see Turnitin in here, and there you go. So you can select Turnitin and click on this select tab. And okay, never mind, I've loaded this tool in a new tab. So just uncheck this one and you're all good. Once you have selected that, again, external tool and select Turnitin in this URL. Okay, the rest is actually Canvas settings. So you can surely identify whichever you want to put in here. That's totally okay. And click on save or save and publish. So what I'm going to do is click on save. And we have this assignment already. What it will show you is actually the assignment or LTI assignment settings. So this is actually where you can customize your LTI assignment. So it's like a Canvas LTI assignment with Turnitin enabled. Okay, well, to be honest, the Canvas access of instructor is pretty much easy and direct and straightforward compared to the direct website access. So that's why some instructors really find Canvas assignments with Turnitin enabled easy. Okay, like it's like the workflow is very straightforward somehow. Okay. The next thing is, okay, we have the title already and the max grade. Okay, so you can surely identify if you have a maximum score in here. So earlier in the settings. So, and if you would want to change that, that's possible. Click on this edit assignment setting in the upper right-hand side of the screen and you're all good. Now, we have the instruction and then we have the peer mark. Just to let you know that peer mark is actually an assignment type when you are allowing your students to provide feedback to another student's work. So it depends on your preference if you want to enable the peer mark or not. Next is we have the start date. So same as the rec website access, the start date is the date that your student can view and submit their assignments. Then the due date is the date that your student, or the last date that student can submit. And the feedback release date is when your student can access the feedback and grade if you're providing any. Click on optional setting afterwards. Okay, if you will notice, the pattern in the assignment setting of the rec website is somehow the same, but it's somehow the same. But right now what you're seeing is the repository option straight away. Okay, instead of the other like the generation speed in the rec website access. So submit papers to, you have two options in here, standard paper repository, like what I mentioned. This will save all the submissions in our database, in our repository. If not, you can select do not store the submitted papers. Allow submission of any file type. Make sure you are unchecking this so that your student can only stick to the file types that we are supporting. Allow late submission. So again, it's your call if you would want to allow that. And then translated matching. Okay, so to give information to a lot of or to the attendees for today. Okay, I also have a question actually here from Sir Eduardo Victor Valdez. Does your database include student submissions in Filipino language? Yes. Okay, we do have all of the languages, okay, in our content databases, and that includes Filipino. Okay, you don't have to worry about that at all. Okay, so let me just click on that. Okay, and now what does a translated matching do? Okay, note that even if you turn on this one or not, we will always have a like for like matching. What does that mean? When we use like for like matching, it only means that if your student will submit in Filipino or in any other language, let's say Korean or Japanese, we will still be able to find similarities of those submitted files or of the submitted works in other language because we already have those in our content database. And for as long as it is in our content databases, definitely we can find a match. Now, translated matching works, or how does it work? Okay, translated matching will translate a work, let's say from Filipino. They will translate the work or Filipino work to English and then matched it to any English content that can be found in our database. It's actually a good setting if you are if you have those kind of those kind of assignments in your class. Unfortunately, okay, for translated matching, Filipino is not one of the supported language as of now because we are still developing it. But if you would want to know what are the supported language, okay, for translated matching, just simply click on this and you'll get more information. Okay, well, even if you enable this one or not, you will still be able to have similarities if you are submitting in any other language, specifically in Filipino, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Next is enable grammar checking using ETS Eraser technology. So make sure that you are checking this one so that you can check your students' work from grammar and spelling check. And that is something that we can actually, I can actually answer the, Sir Eugene Cao question. Does ETS provide a grammar score as well? Unfortunately, ETS will not provide any grammar score for this matter. It will only provide information about that specific grammar and how to fix that specific grammar function. Okay, basically for that one, ETS Eraser is actually not a fix and click system. It will not provide your student an automatic answer, okay, or the correct spelling or the correct grammar pattern, okay, for your student because we are for formative learning. ETS Eraser will provide your student more information, examples, so that they can fix those errors on their own. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Okay, Sir Eugene. Okay, and let me just clear on that. Next is again same pattern or same setting in the direct website access. So you can choose the level of your handbook, the dictionary that you would want to follow, and then as well as the categories. Okay, and then we have the rubrics. You may same okay whether direct website access, you can choose the rubrics that we have in here or create your own rubric by clicking on launch rubric or form manager. Okay, next is the repository comparison option. Make sure everything is selected so that you can have a better similarity matching, because unchecking any one of these means that, let's say, for example, I'll uncheck periodicals, journal, and publication. It means to say that all submissions that are to be made in this assignment will not be compared in any scholarly articles that we have. So again, make sure that you're checking this. So yeah, you will have a better similarity result. And then, okay, we have the similarity report, the generation speed this time. So same, okay, same flow. Clicking on the last one is generating reports on the due date. Your students can surely resubmit until the due date, but the similarity score will be generated on the due date only. Okay, it will generate the score at the same time. The next one is in the middle. Okay, generate reports immediately. Students can resubmit. Okay, same flow. Okay, you're allowing resubmissions, but after the third resubmission, the similarity report will be generated after 24 hours. If you don't think that's not the right option, you can choose generate reports immediately, and you are not allowing your student to resubmit. So again, it's really your call. Okay, you know your student, you know your assignments better than anyone else. And then the next one is allow students to view similarity reports. Okay, so in here, surely if you want to have this one in a formative manner, it's possible. Okay, if not, okay, you can then just select okay, or deselect or uncheck this one. So like maybe you want to keep the report secret up until the time being, or up until the final submission, I mean. Exclusion of bibliography, quoted, and small sources. Make sure that this is unchecked so that you can have these contents in your similarity report by default. You can do the exclusion after checking, and that is more ideal compared to doing it in the general assignment setting instead. Now, the last is save these settings for future use. Okay, you can uncheck this one if you don't want to go over to those settings again manually next time. So it's really up to you. Next is click on submit. Okay, so we're all good. We have assignment settings already. Okay, and we're good to go. Okay, I do have a question coming from Sir Don Brodet. Okay, access to external tool does not seem to work for group assignments. Okay, okay, group assignments can use external tools. Okay, unfortunately, external tools or this somehow will not work, or Canvas do not allow us to work with group assignments, but I am pretty sure that your Canvas administrator will provide you more information about this one, because this can be done by your Canvas admin, okay, or within Canvas. Okay, so I hope that answered your question, Sir Don. Okay, next to that is, okay, let me check. I do have a question coming from Miss Joanna Garces. Do students need to have a separate Turnitin account from the website in order to submit via Canvas assignment? Okay, portal. Okay, good question, Miss Joanna. Okay, for Canvas access, okay, instructors and student doesn't have to log into their direct website access. They don't have to have an account at all. All they have to do is to access their Canvas account and start submitting paper. If we are talking about your student and both of you are accessing Canvas, definitely they just have to, it's automatic for them to see the Canvas assignment that you have created, and they can start doing the submission. So that's how easy the workflow would be for you and for your student in Canvas. Okay, but again, for their website access, it's they have to create, or they have to have their account for them to be able to submit in their or in your assignment within the direct website access. So again, we are talking about two access in here. So maybe some of us are quite confused about what I'm talking about. So again, to access, earlier I had the direct website access, and now we're talking about the Canvas access, where I created this Canvas assignment. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, now let me just go straight to the assignments section. So as you can notice, I do have the assignment already. And when I click on this final assignment, I will be able to see the submissions made by my student accessing this specific course and this assignment. Now, I was not able to actually do a submission in this specific course. So what I'm going to do is to access my demo account. Okay, this might be different, or the look or the interface might be different from what you have in Ateneo, but that's totally okay. So I will just be doing this one so that I can show you on how to access a specific submission. So what I'm going to do is click on this. Okay, there you go. So this is actually a Turnitin demo account. And the title of my assignment is TFS LTI 1.1. And this is how it will generally look like. The student's name and their submission title, uploaded, or the time and date it was uploaded. If your student were able to view your grades, okay, or the similarity report itself, you will definitely see this I being, or not having this one. You can surely see the date and the time that your student was able to access that similarity report. You can see the grade here, the similarity score, and if your submission or the student submission has a flag, you can surely see this flag icon in here. Now, to access that submission, click on the similarity report. Okay, and okay, hold on for a second. Let me just quickly show you this. Okay, hold on for a second. Okay. Okay. My Canvas is having some concern, so let me just check that one out once again. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. I thought I will have some issues with my Canvas, but then again, everything is all good. So, okay. I will share this one to everybody. Okay. So when you access one of your student submission, you will automatically see this document viewer. So again, this is what we call the Turnitin Feedback Studio document viewer, which will show you all the similarities and matches that we found in your student submitted work, as well as the series of content that we have in our databases. So let me just navigate, okay, the things that can be found in here. So the first one is, okay, the student's name and then the submission title. That can be found in the middle top. Next is the grade, okay? And then we can see the arrow wherein you can switch in between submissions. So you really don't have to go back to the submission inbox, because if you have multiple submissions in here, you can just drag from one submission to another. The help icon, okay, so you have popular articles in here in case you want to know more about our product or the features, or like you miss anything in our session today, just simply go straight to the help or to the help guide that we have in here, and you can surely access those information. Down to the bottom, you can see the page, okay, the number of pages in a particular submission, the word count. Opposite to that is the text only report, high resolution toggle, and you can surely zoom the paper in and out. In the right hand side, okay, you can see the active layers. Make sure you're clicking this one first. Okay, you will notice that all the components of similarity reports are up in here and they are not activated yet. So we have the grading all in blue, similarity are all in red, and eraser in purple. So we'll check that one out shortly when we are ready to download the full report. Next thing to do is to, okay, let me, actually it's very, I think it would be best for me to discuss the flags first, because this is something that I would want instructors to check prior to um, the similarity report. So what is a flag? What are flags actually? So flags are best indication that cheating is taking place in your student's paper. Okay, you will notice the number 2 with a flag just above the similarity score, and when you click on that, it will give you 2 insights. We have the hidden text and replace characters. It is telling us that there are 2 attempts to throw off similarity detection, and yes, it is happening especially in online submission or even actually in offline submission. So well, this time checking these flags make Turnitin an easy task for an instructor, because just by clicking it, it will reveal all of those altered or manipulated text. Okay, let me talk about the hidden text first. When we are checking the student submission, okay, you will see the flags in this specific paragraph. I will just make this one bigger so everybody can see. Okay, now if I will turn on hidden text, it will show you all the hidden text that can be found in your student submission. And yes, it's happening. Some, or actually majority of papers do have these requirements, like let's say a minimum of like 800 words, or word count or character requirement. You know what I mean? So instead of students adding more information on their paper, the students will just write random words and then change the color of those texts into white. The letters cannot be seen by the naked eye, but Turnitin can read it and detect that. If you'll notice, you can't see anything at all, right? So, well, these words, characters, or sentences are added up to the word count and character requirement. So maybe you are seeing a word count of 713 here. This is a sham. This is not true. So because again, we have hidden text. You will notice that we have the hidden quotation marks, letters in between words. Students are doing this because they think that it will create a new string of text and it will not match back to any similarities or any content that can be found in any of the databases that we have. Now, why quotation marks? It's because some students, okay, this is their intention. They are searching how to beat Turnitin. Okay, some students know that you as an instructor can exclude quotation marks in your overall assignment settings. So if you can remember, when we are setting up the assignment, you have the ability to exclude quotes or to exclude bibliography. Well, if you checked or if you excluded those things, this portion here will automatically not be included in the overall similarity score. And with that, they will have lower scores in the report, and that is their intention. Okay, so you will see that, okay, if ever, for example, the setting of this assignment is like to exclude quotation marks, you will not see this at all. There won't be any similarities in this portion, since we do have hidden quotation mark in this specific paragraph. So it won't be 68 anymore, maybe lower than 68. And yeah, it's the intention of your student to have lower scores in the report. Okay, another thing to note is the replace characters. When I click on replace characters, it will now flag us to all of those, okay, letters, or yeah, letters that you can see. Okay, like we can see those letter E's. It is actually flagging us to the letter E's or even to the hidden text that can be found. We may think that, okay, those are just the normal American alphabet letter E, but well, it's not. These flagged letter E's here are not the normal American alphabet letter E, but they are Cyrillic characters. You can find it in the right-hand side. Okay, and Cyrillic is actually an alphabet similar to Greek, used in Russian alphabet. So definitely these are Russian characters or Russian alphabet. And students are doing this because they think that similarity cannot be detected since they replaced English characters to similar looking ones. Okay, to tell you honestly, I've done this hidden characters and character replacement. It's very tedious, it's time consuming, and it's obviously intentional. This one is a very clear cheating behavior. The reason why I want you to check this first, especially if you are finding numbers in the flag, is that it will save you more time. Okay, you already know that there's no point in wasting your time in looking at your student's paper, like looking for the similarities anymore, because this one is an obvious misconduct already. And you might want to talk to your students straight away about it. So, well, then you can notice that we also have the learn more about this flag tab in here. Click on that and you'll get more information about these flags for you to review. Okay, so those are the flags. And again, make sure that you're checking that one first prior to the similarity score. Okay, now I think it's about time for me to talk about the similarity score. Okay, let me just click on this. Okay, that number 68 in here. Okay, that 68% is actually is actually what we call the similarity score or the similarity percentage. It indicates that 68% of the student's work, of this work, is matching back to what we have in our database. You may also say that, okay, wow, that is so high. We are not really expecting to have 68% at all because, of course, okay, maybe you do have in your institution, do have your target similarity threshold. But just to be clear, this does not mean that the student plagiarized. The similarity score, we always say this one in Turnitin, that it is not a determination of any plagiarism. The decision for us to consider or to deem any work plagiarized should only be made after a very careful examination of both the submitted work of your student as well as the suspected sources, and not just by simply viewing the similarity score. Definitely, when you're checking your student's paper, you can tell if there are some acceptable similarity matching. Or also, if you found those acceptable similarity matching, they can be excluded straight away from the similarity report. And once it's all excluded, you can have an accurate score afterwards. So maybe that's the most acceptable similarity of that specific submission. And again, not just by simply viewing the similarity score. It's really important for you to check first and assess, okay, those similarities before we can tell that there is really a misconduct or plagiarism happening in your student's paper. Now, to navigate this paper, okay, this is actually a sample paper that I've done, okay, just to show you different types of plagiarism that students can do these days and how they will look in the similarity report. Okay, I will just work this one out. It's like, I will not discuss thoroughly every paragraph, okay, as much as I can, because we will still have to work on with our components, okay, with other components. Though, let me start, okay, by talking about the first similarity matching. In this first paragraph, okay, you will notice that every match that can be found in your student's work and even in the match overview has this corresponding number. We have number 2 in here, number 3, and so on. And those numbers are attributed in the right-hand side. And it's attributed in a specific source. You will notice it in here. And when you click on the number, either here in the document viewer or in the match overview, okay, let me just make this one smaller this time. Okay, there we go. I will click on number 2. And here it is telling us, okay, or it will show you this source box. The source box will show you the original text from that website, and everything is all in red. It's either you want to click on the link of the website. Maybe you want to check if the website is legitimate. Okay, I'm telling this because it's possible for our students to create a mock-up website because yeah, it's easy and it's possible. Again, you may want to check if that website is for real or not, or you can just simply click on the source or this book icon so that you can see the full source side by side. There you go. So in the full source, okay, text in the right-hand side, all those texts that are matching are all in red. And I'm pretty sure that everybody can see it, okay? And you can tell, okay, this time it's really up to you if you think that the student copy-pasted that specific source or that content in that source or not. Maybe you have a question as well that what if my student, or what does it mean? Like when I'm not seeing any color or it's not, some texts are not in red in the full source text. As mentioned earlier, this one is matching back to an internet repository. So our internet repository has the archived and current content. So this could mean that the source or the content from wikipedia.org, it has been updated or has been edited already. Still, you can tell that this one is obviously copy-pasted because we are matching back on full in the document of your student or in your student's work. There you go. Okay, so again, it's really up to you if you think that this one is acceptable matching or not. Well, for me, it's obviously copy-pasted. Second one is the text spinner. Okay, and yeah, students are actually using text spinners even before the online submission. So text spinners are actually free websites that will paraphrase a paragraph for you. And students are actually using this one to make paraphrasing as easy as possible. If you will notice, text spinners are not very smart, okay? And words used may not make any sense at all. Maybe if you're checking your student's paper and you notice a very odd looking paragraph, you might want to engage your student in a conversation, and you'll surely find out if your student just have this issue with paraphrasing skill, and it is something that we can address as their instructor, or the student is using text spinners or any paraphrasing tool, spin bots, or those kind of tools that can be found online in their work. And again, it's for you to judge whether this one is an acceptable similarity matching or not. Another thing here is the copy paste and keyword replace. Okay, same goes with the first paragraph. You can tell that this one is copy pasted, but there are some gaps in between highlights. By clicking on the number, okay, and then click on the book icon, you can now identify what are the words. Okay, let me just find that one again. Okay, there you go. So here, you can find out the words that were replaced by our students, because we all know that, yeah, students have been doing this one before, or even before. They are picking words so that they can somehow skip similarity detection. So as you notice here, the word common was replaced with usual, and then while was replaced with although, and so on. So again, it's really for you or up to you if you would want to let go of this one or not. Okay, we have the hidden characters and character replacement already, and we all know that this one is a pure sign of misconduct taking place in your student's paper. Next is mosaic plagiarism. As for the mosaic plagiarism, we also call this one a mashup. And obviously this one is a mashup because everything is highlighted in different colors and in different numbers. If you would want to have click on this number, okay, you can surely identify where it is been copied. And it's really up to you if you would want to know, or if you want to let go of this similarity or not. So it's really your call If this, let's say, for example, this simple match, okay, we are only matching back to this specific sentence. Okay, let me just quickly check one on that. Okay, you can see this one. Okay, hold on for a second. There you go. So here, if you think this one is acceptable or not, it's really up to the instructor. Okay. Another thing to note is Turnitin can actually detect quotes in two different ways. Earlier, we detect quotes as well. Okay, the hidden quotation marks. So we detect quotes in between quotation marks as well as indentation. So if your student are actually doing this one or added this one in their content, and with that, for example, you think that your student did well in quotes, like there are no anomalies involved in here, you can just surely reach out to, you can surely exclude quotation in the overall setting. And once you've done that, this score will be recalculated and you will surely have an accurate score afterwards. That can be possible if you do not see any misconduct happening, like the hidden quotation mark, of course. Okay, so again, if you check and everything is all good, you can do the exclusion of quotes after. As for paraphrasing, this is where students will try to write the information in their own words, okay? Or like the paraphrase, okay, the content in their own words. And if they did well in paraphrasing, you can surely expect no highlighted matching at all. Okay, now, what about original text? Okay, same with paraphrasing. If your student, in original text, actually, we are expecting our students to create content or works using their own words. For example, those assignments wherein they have to create a narrative, they have to create a story, a poem, a reflection paper, or a review in a specific topic. Since our students are expected to use their own words, we should not expect highlighted matching at all. Okay. However, it's still possible to have some highlighted matching for both original text and paraphrase. Why? Because we have to consider the basic and commonly known fact. For example, Manila is the capital of the Philippines. Okay. And apple is a fruit. I study in Ateneo de Manila University. Those kind of information. Obviously, those are basic and commonly known facts and can possibly be in our database already. Surely a lot of students have written that, okay, not just in the Philippines, but even in the other parts of the globe, and it will surely show up as a match in the similarity report. And still, I think it's okay. That is one of the things that we can consider an acceptable similarity matching. If you found out those phrases, those words, those common words, you can surely exclude that one in the overall similarity report, and that would surely make or somehow affect the overall similarity score of your student. It can be, it can affect, like it can make the similarity score lower. Okay. So I will show you on how to do the exclusion shortly after we talk about the reference list. As for the reference, we are expecting to have a colorful, okay, a colored highlighted matching in here. So it should be in rainbow of colors. But if you found out your student's paper is in just one color, like all of these are in pink, and in number 8, this could mean that the student copied and pasted that from just one internet source. And you can surely investigate that further, maybe by talking to your student about it and even checking out that number and like where is it matching back. Now, what about the student or there are no highlights at all? Let's say I do have 2 sources here that doesn't have any highlights at all. This could mean 3 things. First, the information is incorrect, so it must be reviewed and correct by your student. Second, The source was not yet in our database, so you can just advise us, okay, to work on that specific source and include that in our content database. Or fourth, it is not a real one. Okay, so yes, and it's possible for our students to actually create a sham or a mock-up resources so that they will think that they did well in that research. As you notice, I do have these research sources here, and they are not true. And it's really something that you really have to check. However, if the one specific source is completely highlighted, it could only mean one thing. The source is already in our database, and it's your call. If you think that your student did well and it's properly done, like maybe you have your own requirements, you have your own format about that, you can do the exclusion of bibliography right after. But make sure you're checking the bibliography first before any exclusion. Okay, there you go. Now, okay, next thing that I can show you is the match overview. In the match overview, it will show you the sources, okay, that can be found in your student's work. Okay, so you can see if it's an internet source, a student paper, or like it's a publication. Now, if it's a student's paper, let's say, for example, I have a paper here matching back to, okay, let's have number 9. Okay, there you go. In my number 9 match, I just click on the number. Okay, and it says here that I'm matching back to a paper submitted to CSU San Marcos. Okay, it's automatic for us not to have any information about the paper, especially if it belongs to other institution. Same with other institution. This is what they will be seeing if they are matching back to any paper submitted in Ateneo de Manila University accounts. Okay, so surely they won't be able to see anything. Okay, however, if you would want to see that information, simply click on that institution's name and click on send a request to view the paper. The institution, please note, can say yes or no to that. Well, if they say yes, you can surely get an information. You can surely get that information straight away in your email. But if they will say no, okay, definitely you will not get any. Okay, it's really their call if they want to provide that information or not. Okay, the next thing that I'm gonna do is to show you the paper match details and how to do any exclusion. Well, sometimes the information that you are seeing in the match overview may not be where the information has come from. For example, let's say in number 2 paragraph, in this paragraph, I'm matching back to wikipedia.org. For example, one of their students is saying that, okay, I did copy this one from Wikipedia. I use other source, let's say wikimili.com. You can check that one by clicking on this arrow next to the percentage. Okay. When you click on that arrow next to the percentage, it will show you every time this whole paragraph has been used or mentioned. You will notice that there are actually a lot of words or a lot of websites, submitted papers that use that specific paragraph, because you have to understand that those paragraphs can be copied and pasted from other website and submitted in other institutions. So as you notice, we are also matching back to a paper submitted to the University of South Pacific. This means that the student actually copied this whole paragraph into their paper or into their research paper, perhaps. Okay. I just have a question coming from Sir Ramon Sunico. Okay. Surely, his question is all about how to email. Okay. About using Turnitin with perusal. Okay. You may reach out to your Turnitin administrator. I believe that you can reach out to your library team, so they can provide you or to they will give you or to provide you the email address of your Turnitin administrator for that matter. Okay. Thank you, sir. And okay, Now, as mentioned, in the match breakdown, it will provide you all of these information. And what about, okay, how to exclude a specific source? I will just pick one small match. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I do have Miguel Verdugo. Okay, publication. We have 1% of match in here. Let me click on that. Okay. And in this specific publication, I am only matching back to this specific sentence. Severe, actually, it's not a sentence, it's a phrase already. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus 2, SARS-CoV-2. Okay, if you think this one is an acceptable matching, it's just a small source. It's not really relevant at all. You can do the exclusion of sources by clicking on this small tab in the lower right-hand side. Click on that box and click on exclude. That way you will not match back anymore to that specific source, and well, it doesn't really affect at all the similarity or the overall similarity at all, because it depends on the percentage of that specific source that you are where you're matching back. So again, it really depends on the percentage that you have. Okay. Well, then again, if you notice a lot of similarity or small similarity matching or an acceptable similarity matching, you think it, or must be excluded in the overall similarity report, that's totally possible by doing it in here. Another thing to show, okay, quickly is, okay, we are nearing to the end of our session actually, but okay, I will just try to work on this one very quickly. Okay, so when I click on the all sources view, that is the graph just below the similarity score, you can see that the all sources view is showing you the number of times a particular source is matching back the paper. You will notice that we have 33%, and it is you're matching to a paper submitted to Far Eastern University. Okay, so you will notice that the highlighted content, okay, are those matching or the similarity matches, or those are the paragraphs or words or letters that are matching back to that paper. Okay, there you go. And it's really up to you if you think that similarity matching from Far Eastern University paper is acceptable. Maybe you allowed your students somehow to use that. Let's say it's an acceptable collaboration. Okay, you can do the exclusion of that straight away by clicking on this tab. There you go. And click on that source and exclude. Let me just do that one right now. Okay. There you go. So you may think that it's, wow, it's 33%, but it's not really changing at all the sources overview, because we are still matching back to a lot of sources in this specific submission. You just remove that Far Eastern University paper in the overall similarity matching, which is actually good because you are refining your similarity score. Now, the next thing that I can do is, okay, same again. If you found out a specific source that is not relevant at all, you can do that in all source view or the source, the match overview. Okay. Now, if you're checking your student's paper and everything is all good, go straight to the filters. And let's say, for example, you all codes are all good, no anomalies involved in here. Bibliography is all good. And then if we think that there are some sources, okay, like exclude small sources here. By clicking on this one, if Turnitin found a source with only, like say, I will input 10 words in here. If we found out sources with only 10 words, okay, 10 similar words, we will automatically exclude that from the similarity report. So now we are down to 68. When I click on apply changes, we are down to 52%. And maybe this one is a more accurate score since we have excluded everything already. Okay, there you go. So in the filters and exclusion, you can also uncheck this multicolor highlighting if you're not a fan of a rainbow of colors. and click on New Report if you want to generate the similarity report. Once again, maybe you think that another content is, or another source or content has been added to our databases, so you can surely generate a new report once again. Okay, all of those excluded sources that we did earlier are actually in here. So I click on this this icon. So if you want, it's either like you want to restore all of these sources or just a few sources, or like it's really up to you. Okay, I won't do that for now. Okay, we'll skip this icon because this is not part of the license that we have for Ateneo de Manila University. So I will just go straight to the feedback and grading tool. But I do have a question coming from Miss Monica Nalupta. Okay, so this is a question of Miss Monica. So what should be the maximum allowed similarity rate? Okay, very, very good question, ma'am. Okay, for this one, okay, I would like to tell everybody that for Turnitin, okay, the Turnitin stand is that there is no exact percentage acceptable in the similarity score. Okay, it all depends on the nature of the assignments that we have. Like we can actually tell that all assignments have some sort of acceptable similarity matching. Let's say earlier I showed you the paraphrase and original text. Okay, let me just click on this. Okay, so if your student is actually using, I mean, like if your students are meant to create an assignment wherein they have to create a narrative on their own, like a story. Okay, like a review, those kind of assignments, like they really have to create their, they have to create a content using their own words. We are not expecting, or we should not expect to have similarity or to high similarity score on that, because they don't have to look up to any other sources, and for sure we can expect lower scores. Okay, so definitely if you're if those kind of assignments, like the narrative assignments or those assignments, review and reflection assignments do have, or your student got a higher similarity matching, you really have to check that one out, because they are not supposed to be copying those information in any other resources, right? However, if the student is making a paper about a particular topic, let's say a structure of a bone, solar system, or COVID-19, like this, the concepts here are limited, as well as the vocabulary. They really have to look up for a lot of sources in here, and a lot of, maybe they have to quote some information, some people who have said something, or valuable information about that specific topic. And you can surely expect a high similarity score. Like for example, I had a training with in a college of law before, wherein those assignments are expected to cite a lot of verbatim, a lot of quotes, and even resources. And surely those kind of assignments really can, we really can expect higher similarity matching. So again, it really depends on the nature assignment. And also, you may be asking the allowed similarity rate. Sometimes it's the institution who are establishing a specific threshold for a specific for a similarity score. You might as well reach out to your Turnitin administrator, or maybe you have your own academic integrity committee, and maybe they have their own similarity score guidelines or threshold that you can surely follow. Of course, if your institution has set that specific threshold, we cannot do anything about that. So might as well reach out to your Turnitin administrator or to your institution for that matter. I hope that answered your question, Miss Monica. Okay, now we already have the similarity score. The next very quick that I will be showing to you is the feedback and grading tools. So those are all the blue icons in your similarities report. So let me just uncheck the similarity for now and focus on the grading. Okay, first thing that I can show is the text icon. Click anywhere and select the letter T. Okay, so you can leave feedback to your student on top or just straight away in their submission. So I can just say this is a good paper. So allow me to use this one just for this demo. Click anywhere and it will automatically be saved. There you go. You can delete it if you want to, and you can actually move it around so it will avoid other text on the paper. Next is the bubble icon. Highlight the title or any portion of your student submission. Click on that bubble icon and share something about it. Okay, like maybe you have your own instruction, you have your own feedback to your students. So for now, I will tell my student to change your title. Okay, I can also change the, like format the text if I want to, change the color of the highlight. Okay, it really depends on your preference. And click away and it will automatically be saved. You can actually drag the icon wherever you want to, and it will just be connected with the line. Another thing to note is to highlight a content so that you can see the quick marks. Okay, I'm actually highlighting this portion. Okay, whatever you wanted to put or to put a comment into, click on the box with a check mark. And there you go. Okay, let me just quickly choose this paragraph. Click on the box with a check mark. Okay, choose the quick marks that you would want to use. Actually, quick mark is very, very helpful for all instructors, especially if you don't want to type your feedback to your student. Like maybe there is a specific feedback that you always use. You can just set that in the quick mark set. Okay, now I'm choosing the quick marks that I would want to use. I chose commonly used, select weak transition, and there we go. We are providing description about that specific quick mark, and you can also add something on your own so your student can understand what do you mean by that. Format your text or even change the color of your highlight. Okay, it's really up to the instructor's choice. Okay, whichever you want to put in here. Click anywhere and it will automatically be saved. To access other quick marks, click on the box in the right-hand side. Okay, select a quick marks that you would want to use and choose. Again, you don't have to worry about the quick marks. Maybe some of these are not familiar, or I mean, not really common to other, to some of us or even to our students. We are providing a lot of those description so that you will be guided accordingly. Okay, if you don't want those quick marks, you can create your own set by clicking on this cog icon. I can provide you a lot of helpful guides that will work, that will assist you in working on with the quick marks in this portion. Okay, next to that is the feedback summary. So for feedback summary, it's basically not just a feedback in a specific portion, but an overall feedback. You can leave a voice comment up to 3 minutes long. Just click on the record icon. So record your voice, tell something about your student's paper, which is actually very good because your student can really hear the tone of your voice when you're providing feedback. If not, stop. Okay, either save or discard, of course, or instead you can just leave a text comment. Okay, so good job. I will just put it in here. Okay, there you go. The text comment is also available when you download the report. Okay, next one is the rubrics. Okay, depending on your preference, if you would want to make use of the rubric, that's possible. If not, you can just put a target score in here. Okay, let me see. I'm actually using the demo or Turnitin demo account, so I'm not sure if this will allow me to create a rubric, but since there are no rubrics assigned to this assignment, it's possible for you to attach a rubric of your choice by clicking the Manage Rubric. Okay, this cog icon. Okay, there you go. And this one is a default assignment, or I mean a default rubric. You can choose a specific rubric that you would want to use by clicking on these 3 bars in the upper left-hand side. Go to the rubric library to use the rubrics that we have. Okay, let me just pick one specific rubrics. Okay, for this, there we go. Okay, I'm using this, okay, AP English Literature. And to attach your rubric, click on this, attach to an assignment, turn this on, there you go, and close. Now, okay, this might not be the rubric that you are expecting to see. Okay, but this one is easy. All you have to do is to drag a specific, in a specific score. Okay, you will notice description below as well. Okay, let's say I have here number 1, and then you can see the description below. There you go. Okay, and then there you go. And let me just choose 4 points. Okay, so that is very easy. Just drag it to the desired score that you want to. But if you would want to see the table like one, click on the expand icon. And once you're done, apply to grade. You will then notice that I will automatically have this in my score, okay, or in my grade, okay, in the portion or grading portion in here, okay, and it's automatically reflect back within your Canvas environment. Okay, let me check something. Okay, because I'm actually not using your Canvas, so I really have to check my demo account for that matter. Okay. So you will then notice that the grade is automatically populated in here. And when I click on the grades, okay, here you go. So you notice that it is Avali's grades, and it's already 50. Okay, as what I have graded her regarding to this specific submission. Okay. Now, another thing to note. Okay, that's for the rubrics. Okay. Next is the ETS Eraser. So let me just quickly show you this one. When I turn on the ETS Eraser, it will automatically check your students' paper for grammar. Okay, it's still loading somehow. So we have the grammar, mechanics, style, usage, and spelling. You can uncheck any categories that you think is not relevant at all. So, well, obviously, okay, in this specific submission, you're not seeing any issues at all because it is a dummy submission. Okay, I just copy paste of most of the time in here. And then if by chance, okay, you notice a specific grammar issue, okay, you can click on that. There you go. I click on possessive. You may see the eraser feedback. You may also advise your student about this one. Maybe you want to tell your student that you always have issues with the use of possessive noun, okay, and even check. I'm not actually typing that at all because it's quite long. So, or I will just type check the handbook. Okay, as mentioned earlier, ETS Eraser is not a fix and click system. It will not provide your student an automatic answer or the right answer or the right spelling. It would want your student to fix the error themselves. When they check the handbook, okay, it will provide them information and a lot of examples so they can work the error on their own, because we believe in formative learning. So at least we're establishing a strong foundation for your student to do the correction on their own and not just rely to any online grammar checker. Okay. Yes, it's possible for the ETS Eraser to have false flags. Well, false flag can be or can be seen in a lot of grammar checker because there are no grammar checker that are totally perfect. And it's really up to the instructor if they think that those flags are acceptable or not. They can surely dismiss those false flag if they think that it's not really an issue at all. Okay, so there you go. Now, the next thing that I can show, okay, let me just quickly go straight to the active layer. So we have the grading, and then we do have, okay, turn on the similarity. We can turn on the similarity, and now it's time for us to download the pull report. Don't worry, because even if I access this document viewer in Canvas, it is definitely the same in Feedback Studio Direct Website Access. So what you are seeing right now in this document viewer can be seen in both access. So you really don't have to worry about it at all. Okay. Next thing is click on this download icon. Okay, make sure that you're clicking on the current view to download all the tools that you have just turned on. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay, we are still preparing to download, but I do have a question coming from Miss Jonavi Arevalo. If we click on the standard repository and then we got a match for a repository submission from another institution or from a similarity submission from another institution, who will be notified regarding the request to access the paper? Is it the student or the faculty? Actually, this one is, it actually depends on the administrator setting, ma'am. So if it it's not the student who can give the access to that specific institution, but it can only be the faculty or the administrator. So definitely during our administrator training, your administrator knows what would be the best option for the security setting. If ang naset po ng ating administrator is a specific email address of your administrator, definitely they will be the one to receive that request coming from other institution. But if your administrator set to send a request directly to the instructor, si instructor po ang makakapag-provide or makaka-receive ng request coming from other institution. Your instructor or even your admin can say yes or no to that. Okay, I hope that answers your question. And right now we are downloading the paper. Okay, so there you go. Let me just quickly click on this. Okay, so this is the downloaded report. Okay, I hope that everybody can see this one right now. And this has all the pertinent information that you have in your student similarity report. Okay, you can see the highlighted matching, your feedback. There you go. Okay, so we are not matching back to quotes and references anymore because we excluded that from the similarity score. You can see the sources, okay, and the exclusion. So you will then be able to know if you have excluded quotes, bibliography, and other matches. And then we have the final grade, and then the instructors' general comments, quick marks, ETS Eraser, as well as the rubrics. This one will be very helpful if there's a need for you to have a conversation with your student about his or her report, or you wish to escalate. Maybe you found a concern or like especially academic misconduct, okay, and you would want to escalate that concern to your academic heads. Maybe you have your academic integrity investigator, okay, or even your administrator to work out so that they can look or investigate that paper further. Okay. Going back to the document viewer, the next icon that you can see is the information icon, which has the submission ID number. Okay, submission ID number is very, very important if in case there is a need for you to reach out to our Turnitin support team, maybe may mga concern po sa paper or submission, you must have the submission ID number with you so that they can find the paper easily and then they can help you quickly about this. Okay. So there you have it. Okay, our walkthrough and discussion about the similarity report. Okay, okay, another question coming from Miss Jonna B. Do instructors need to upload rubrics for paper, or is there a way to set a rubric such as default for all paper submission? Actually, Miss Jonna B, I discussed this one when we are setting up the assignment. So when you are working on with the assignment, it's possible for you to attach a rubric directly in the assignment setting. Just to show this one very quickly, in our overall assignment setting, let me show you this. Okay, so rubrics can be found in here po. Okay, there we go. So if you would want to attach your rubrics, not just in a specific document, but in the overall assignment, it's possible. You can find it within your Canvas when you're working on with the assignment, and same goes with the direct website access. For sure, rubrics can be found in there when you're setting up your assignment. So you really don't have to worry about it. Okay. All right. So there we go. I hope that answered everybody's question. Well, if you have any other questions, I will just wait for a couple of minutes. I know that we're over time, okay? But okay, I will just check out if there are some other questions that are left unanswered. Okay. So far, I'm seeing no questions at all. And well, thank you so much, everyone. You're all very kind with the chat. Okay, thank you. In the chat box, I mean. Okay. So well, let me just quickly show you this helpful guides. Okay. So I'll be sharing this as well, the instructor quick start guide in my follow-up email together with the recording, the help.turnitin.com, just to share this one to everybody. If you will access help.turnitin.com even without logging into your account, you can find all the information that you will be needing for Ateneo de Manila University. Click on Feedback Studio, and then it's either Turnitin website or Canvas. As for Canvas, click on the Canvas, and here, please click on External Tool and not Plagiarism Framework. Make sure you are clicking on External Tool and choose your role, instructor. Everything that you need to know about your workflow as an instructor using Canvas are all up in here. Questions about Similarity Report, refining are all in here. So you really don't have to worry about it. Rubric scorecard. Okay, maybe some of you are still having questions about rubrics. It can be found in here, and as well as the grading forms. Okay, and of course, okay, please contact your institution's administrator for other questions. And of course, okay, you can get in touch with us, okay, the Turnitin Professional Services, and that's me. Okay, so I hope that it's very beneficial for everyone. Thank you so much for your time. I know how busy instructors can be these days, and I hope that Turnitin will be able to support you or assist you to make your workflow as easy as possible. Thank you so much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Have a great, ingat po, and ingat and stay safe. Okay, salamat po. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, administrators.